Hello, I wanted to share with y'all a great after work or PM yoga routine. So I've been practicing and following along with some Katonah yoga, and that's really relating our physical bodies with our internal organs and our external world or circumstances. So after a long day of work, especially if you work at a 9 to 5, what ends up happening is we lose awareness of our posture and we start to really round our back, and we're rounding our lower back, and our lower back hurts, our neck hurts, our shoulders hurt, and it just trickles down the chain. So what we're going to do is bring our body into more of alignment, and we're going to focus on breathing into our postures and really taking our time. So if you've watched my morning yoga routine, this is just a little extension of that because you'll probably have a little bit more time since you're not rushing to work. So what we're going to start with is we're going to take 2 yoga blocks, and we're going to first start with aligning our spine. So as I mentioned in the morning yoga video, we have a natural wave within our spine and within our back. So our sacrum is down here and it goes outwards, and then our lumbar or our lower spine goes inwards. Then our middle back, our thoracic spine goes outwards, our neck goes inwards, and our head sits on top and slightly goes outwards. So again, when we're at a 9 to 5 and we're doing this all day, we really want to bring our structure back to its natural positioning. We really want to bring those waves back into our spine so that way we are in further alignment. So what we're going to start with first is our lower back, and then we're going to go into our mid back and neck. And if we have the foundation of our lower back set appropriately, then that can trickle over into our mid back and our neck. So we're going to take 1 yoga block to start, and positioning is everything. So we're going to take our time with that. And we're going to set this block in between our upper butt and our lower back. And that's going to allow for our front body to open up. So I'll explain as we go here. So upper butt, lower back, and then you want your middle fingers touching your heels. You want your feet hip distance apart, your toes slightly inwards, heels slightly out, and that will set your knees to be in line with your hips as well. So that way your femurs are slightly rolling inwards, which is a natural positioning, especially for your sacrum. And now here I'm allowing for my hip flexors and my psoas to really open up after they've been shortened the whole day. So your psoas is actually attached to your spine, and it's a really, really deep muscle that is kind of underlooked, if you will, but we can have all sorts of back issues if our psoas is all tightened and jumbled up, and that can really not allow for us to breathe. So now here, we're gonna grab each opposite end of the elbow with our hands, and we're just going to extend up and back with our arms, making sure our neck is nice and long. And we're gonna take some deep breaths now. And with this, you're really going to notice that you can actually take deeper breaths. So now your diaphragm is open and you can really breathe into the bottom of your lungs. And you're gonna notice that your lower back may not feel comfortable or it may not feel natural, but this is a natural positioning for your lower back. So it's all about unlearning certain habits that we've been doing from time to time and creating these patterns in our work field and not really recognizing them. Now we're recognizing them. So we're going to take some deep breaths and really breathe down to the bottom of the lungs, breathing in space all the way down to that lower back and releasing any stagnant energy there. If you can imagine, when you're more open and aligned, you can really start to have energy flow a little bit better internally. And again, you're just creating that space to allow for energy to flow. And that's directly going to impact your organs and how you feel and how you move, and even down to your perception and how you perceive the world around you, because now you're in a much more aligned position to make more aligned choices with your body and with the world around you. So take another deep breath, and then we'll go into our neck region. So if we're setting up the foundation of our lower back, we're creating a nice wave there, then we're creating a good structure for the top of the spine as well. So you're gonna want to slowly get out of that posture there. Not like I just did, but slowly. Probably remove the block first. But our spine is like a direct reflection of one another. So again, our sacrum here is in direct proportion as it goes outwards with our mid back, and our lower back as it waves inwards is in direct proportion with our neck. So we really want to make sure that we have that set up straight before we go into our other postures, so that way we can really breathe efficiently into our postures. So the next posture here is going to be our fish pose. We're going to want to set this yoga block up right in between our shoulder blades. And a little rule of thumb so you don't fall and collapse out of this block, because it's very common, is to tilt the block towards your heels very slightly. And then as you press your back down, it goes flat into the ground instead of like having it flat and collapsing on it. So tilt the block slightly towards your heels, have it right in between the shoulder blades, right in the middle, dead center. And for our yoga block, we have the low setting, the medium setting, and the high setting. And for the lower back, the lowest setting is actually the easier setting, and then going up is harder. Whereas this position here for your head, this high position is the easiest setting, medium setting is medium, and then lowest is the hardest. So I'm actually going to keep it on medium for me, because what happens if I put it too low for myself personally is I can't swallow. And we want to make sure we can swallow in this pose, so that way we have, again, a nice aligned posture to where our body can function, where we have everything running smoothly. If we're overstretching ourselves, then we want to kind of take it back a step. So after I've positioned this underneath the base of my head, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab the opposite side of my elbows. I'm going to pull up and go back. And if you can bring your elbows all the way down, you may want a third block so you can rest your forearms on that yoga block. For me, that's not doable. I do have a spinal fusion, so I can only show you so much, but already since practicing this, I can already go beyond my perceived limitations, especially with what my doctors told me in the past that I wouldn't be able to do again. We're already going beyond that. So now you want your arms next to your ears, and this may feel really uncomfortable, especially in the shoulders. For those of you who do sit throughout the day, your shoulders may feel really, really tight. So it's not about just pushing through, it's about recognizing where you're feeling that tension, that tightness, and that's just stagnant energy that with a consistent practice like this, you will improve, but it takes that effort to make things effortless in these postures. So keep showing up. You are in control. You have to find the time to make this work for you. Because if you find the time to make this work and you start to notice improvements within your body and setting yourself up for alignment, it directly shows up in how you think and you perceive. And then you can start to have that perception with the outer world from a new lens. And you really get to go towards what fulfills you and further things that make you feel good. So again, here we have our heart open, our lungs. We can really breathe because now we're nice and open. So really try to breathe into those really tight, stagnant spaces and exhale all the tension. Really try to pull your arms back in the opposite direction of your feet. It's all about setting boundaries with yourself too. So again, not like going to your max stretch and not overdoing it, but just really observing yourself and connecting with yourself in these postures. All right, so slowly come out of that one. I'm gonna grab my head here, kind of crunch up, block fell down. And now I'm just going to slightly push off behind my butt. And there we go. Already you'll notice a lot more openness, and it may not feel natural now, but this is natural. And it's just because we've been conditioned to sit in unnatural postures throughout our days, throughout the years. And that can really add up, especially as you age. I've worked with so many clients with really, really, really irreversible hunchbacks from working 9 to 5s for over 30 years, and it's really taken a toll on their health. With this PM practice here, I wanted to implement half Katonah yoga, half of the stretches that I know, and kind of just blend the two based on where I see the most tightness within my clients and other people around me. So next we are going to go into a table pose, and we want to make sure everything is in nice alignment because our body really is in direct proportion of one another. So in order to have your knees underneath your hips, you really need to check that you have 2 fist distance away from each knee, and then straight arms, 2 middle fingers, and then pivot from your thumbs. And so I'll show you here, my tabletop, boop, boop. And then we're going to make sure our pinky side of the toe is down against the floor. And now we're going to do some cat-cows. This is just bringing some fluidity within our entire torso. So we're going to start by exhaling and pushing the upper back upwards and looking back. And then as we come forward, we're bringing the head up and inhaling. And here's my cat, that's Freddy boy. And we're gonna do this for a little bit. But this is really bringing the whole torso together now, as we are right in the center, in perfect alignment. And as we're going forward and backwards, we're realizing, we're noticing if anything's tight or if it feels good. We're bringing the fluidity to our hips, opening up the shoulders. And when we tend to be tight or sore in the back body, it means we're clinging or hanging on to our past memories too much. When we're tight or stuck in our front body, that means we're almost a little too fixated on the future or almost anxious. Especially the front body, when we're not open, we're anxious because we don't have the space to breathe, because we're shallow breathing through the chest and our back is rounded. So always coming back to your breath. Your breath is your present and your force. Awesome. So now we're going to create hip circles. And again, all of this so far is in the AM routine that I have. And this is just me following along the yoga routine that I've been doing personally. And it's made a world of a difference in terms of like kind of going beyond the limitations that I set for myself and just helping me feel more connected to myself, helping me perceive the world a little bit better. And this next movement here, we're going to do some hip circles. So what we're going to do is we're going to arch the back, bring the hips to the right, bring the hips up, hunch the lower back a little bit, bring it to the left, come down. And you're literally creating fluidity in your lower back and your hips. That is directly correlated with your kidneys. And this is actually something I could not do before this practice. It made me cry. And what this is a sign of, if this is really tricky for you, tricky and sticky, is you are probably overworked in your kidneys. And so what happens is your kidneys dry out And what this is doing is this is bringing the water and the energy back into the kidneys. And what happens when we overwork the kidneys is we can burn out, we can get adrenal fatigue, and it still feels sticky to me. But I can go the other direction. It's so important to get the hips moving, especially after sitting all day. And bringing the water and the energy back into the organs so that way we can function and have energy to do the things that we love to do. Awesome. So after that, we're going to do a wrist stretch in our tabletop position. So we are going to focus on one wrist at a time. If flipping one wrist is too much and you can't set your heel of your wrist down, you're going to take some height on top of a pillow like this. And you're going to slightly bend the elbow backwards. And we're actually going to create further circles. So we'll go in one direction first. Oh yeah, toes down. So yeah, what happens when we're sitting at work all day, and especially if we're on a computer, is we're like this. So right now we're just really doing a lot of counter poses that we do throughout the workday. But these poses, again, we want them to feel effortless because these are natural poses. This is how our body is naturally designed. And what the workforce has done is it's taken us out of our natural state, our natural body, and it's programmed our thinking to be a certain way. So when we have more alignment in our body and we're able to understand ourselves and connect with ourselves, we can really connect with our perception of being open to other things that make us feel good over time, of course, because this may not feel good initially, and that's okay. But again, the point of this practice is consistency and to really learn about yourself and how you can find ways to improve and what movements you look forward to improving and how that can directly translate into your organs. Like, for example, your kidneys, you're not able to do the hip circles yet, and your kidneys are dried out because of all the fire, because of all the work and all the burnout. But if we're focusing on the hip circles and we're noticing more fluidity, and then we're noticing, oh, well, maybe I'll take the time to rest here. And we start to prioritize ourselves more. And that really allows us to think for ourselves when we have that space to ourselves. And it gives us the power to do really whatever we want to do and transform our lives. Awesome. So after that, the wrist, you can go both hands if you want. Try that. All right. So speaking of the kidneys, an exercise that I have learned recently that I've been not doing correctly or in favor of my kidneys is the downwards facing dog. So we do want to start in our table position, reposition your hands and your knees, and then you're going to tuck your back toes under. And what you actually want to do in a downwards facing dog is you want to bend the knees and bring the heels up. And then you want to focus on your butt going upwards. You have a slight arch in your back. Hello, Freddy boy. You're looking directly forward, right in line with the wrist. And you want to put pressure on your middle finger and your index finger so that way you're not using too much of your wrist. Again, keep coming up off of your heels and bend the knees so that way your butt's really going up. Otherwise, if we're going down and straight leg, we have a slight round in the back, and that's putting pressure on the kidneys. So we really want to make sure we have some good height here. We are really focusing on pushing the butt up so that way it's more of a hip dominant exercise. What we're going to do here is we're going to come into a forward lunge. Not graceful, but so your foot's going to come on the inside of your right hand, you're gonna place your back foot down, pinky toe, pushing into the ground. Hands are in nice alignment here. You wanna make sure that your arm is right in line with your leg here. Your torso is on your leg, your top leg, and you have like this nice 90-degree angle inside your knee. So if one hand can't get down that like this, it took me a few weeks to get it, but if one hand can't go all the way down, just keep practicing. And this means that you have a tightness in your lower back, which just means, again, that one of your kidneys is being overused. So you can kind of get a little bit of circleage. And then what we're going to do from here is we're going to bring our arms in line with our ears. We're going to pull upwards and forwards and take some deep breaths. You'll notice this is probably extremely uncomfortable, but again, keep showing up and just make the intention to create space here and make it effortless over time. Awesome. Then we'll come down, tuck the back toe, downwards facing dog. Again, make sure your hands are in some good alignment here. You're pushing the butt up towards the sky. You're really creating good space here between the middle finger, wrist, elbows, shoulders, hips, bending from the knees, supporting them kidneys. Kind of rocking back, and then we'll go forward with the left side. Back toe down, pinky side, hands in line. One side is obviously going to feel a lot tighter than another. Notice which side that is. So something I learned in the Katonah world is that our left side of our body, it's our feminine side. That's our staying in, relaxing, resting. That's our creativity, our nurturing. Whereas the right side of our body is the masculine, and that is going out into the world, our structure. Now take your hands up, grab your elbows, come up and forward with the torso. Try not to lean back with the lower back. And take your deep breaths. Come back into the downwards dog. Tuck your toe under. Looking forward. All right. So now, continuing on with the hips, we have 90 degrees within our knees here. This may feel really awkward. I know it does for me. And we're actually going to bend over to the side in which our leg is up, and we're going to do a little forward fold and just press up. So now moving away from some of the Katonah yoga, more into my practice. Well, it's all our practice, but more of Pam's touch. So other side. Almost getting that opposite elbow to the opposite knee. All right, now going on the floor. And we're gonna do a thoracic 3. We're gonna place a yoga block underneath one of our knees. We wanna make sure that our whole body, our whole bottom side of the body is in line. So our ankle in line with our knee, hip, shoulder, and I'm using this yoga mat for reference here to make sure my body is straight. And I have both of my palms on top of one another. I'm going to push the top palm outwards and exhale. We're going to do 3 of these. Good. Inhale as you come back. Exhale as you go forward. And then we're going to open, book openers. So we're going to bring that finger all the way down towards the floor. Follow it with your head. You're going to breathe out. Breathe in. Follow your fingertips with your eyes. We're opening up our mid-back or thoracic. And then we're going to flip our palm upside down. So your pinky is now in line with your thumb. And you're going to keep your fingertips on the ground. You can bend your elbows slightly. You're just going to come all the way around. Again, wherever your hand starts to come up, stop at that point. And breathe. And then come back. And then exhale. Exhale's creating space. Good, and one more. Then we'll switch sides. Awesome. So we'll switch sides now. Thoracic 3 exercises, 3 reps. Good. So exhale here. And open. Opening your chest. Then flip your palm over. Keep your fingertips on the ground. This is where my stopping point is. From there, we're going to stay on the ground. We're going to do what's called a happy baby. This is really good to open up the hips. Hey, baby. So Freddie's come to join us for happy baby. Are you ready, Freddie boy? So what we're going to do is lay on our back. And this one's a good one to do at home because it's a little X-rated, but you want to push down on your toes or like the balls of your feet. Really push your knees down. Head is down also. Then just taking some deep breaths. This is allowing for gravity to push on your hips to really open up the inner parts. And then if you can straighten one leg at a time while maintaining your foot, while maintaining your hand on your foot. And the stretch just overall feels really good. Both legs in. And from there, we're going to do a figure 4. So we're going to cross one leg. And then the leg that is down, you're going to pull that towards you. So you're going to loop your hand like in between your 2 legs. So that way you grab the bottom of your leg and then just pull that back towards you. You really want to make sure that your shins are parallel to the wall in front of you. So not the foot is more in front or the knees more, but you really want a parallel shin in which the leg is up. That's going to really create space in your glutes, especially the top corner. If you want an even further stretch, you can pull that side down towards the ground. Just make sure that your right shoulder, the side in which your leg is up, is still on the ground. So that way it's only your glute that is getting this motion, or your butt. Really breathe space into it. If this is too much, just holding here is fine. Then we'll switch sides. Again, one side's going to be tighter than another. if you can, kind of bring that foot towards the ground while keeping this on the ground. So that way you're not going this way and it takes out the glute, or it takes the glute stretch out. And exhale. Always remember to breathe, creating space. So the next thing I wanted to share was a seated twist. This is always one that my doctor told me I could never do because of my spinal fusion, but when I saw I could do this, I almost cried. And it just goes to show, like, you have the power to choose what you can do and what you can't do. If you say you can do something, but you're not quite there yet, just work towards it. And with that consistency, I'm telling you, like, your whole world will change. When you start to engage in a consistent practice in which you're going beyond what you thought your body was capable of, then your mind starts to follow and your heart starts to open up more to the possibilities of what we want to do in this world. So everything is our choice. Our thoughts are our choice. Our beliefs are our choice. I'm not saying disregard what doctors tell you, but if you want to challenge something for your own doing, for your own sake, by all means. So we're going to sit up on a pillow here so that way it sets our whole body up in alignment from our spine. And we're going to tuck our heel in towards our butt. And we're going to hug our left knee with our right elbow. And then you're going to put your fingertips directly behind you at a 180 degree. And then if you can, bring your elbow on the opposite side. For me, it kind of brings me out of alignment, so I'm just going to continue to hug my knee. But here, you're going to focus on your inhales. You're going to inhale, raise your chest, come forward with your chest, and then twist with an exhale. Something I learned in the Katonah world is when we have our heart set to 90, and our heart is our inner compass, then we have more clarity for our vision, which is at our 180 right here. So using these metaphors to excite you about these postures instead of being deceived that we're not quite there yet. What's the journey ahead for you? Do you have the vision yet? Do you not? Are we discovering our vision? Are we discovering our inner compass? Are we discovering ourselves? Awesome. Then we'll switch sides. So again, heels in line with the butt, right next to the butt. Then hug that right knee, your left elbow. One side's going to feel a little tighter than another. That's completely okay. We're working on symmetry, alignment. Deep inhale, up with the chest, forward with the chest, then exhale. Fernando's got his boing. My cats are obsessed with these little boings or little springs, but I call them boings. It's their latest obsession. See, on my right side of my body, this side's tighter. This is our masculine, our paternal side. So going out, setting the structures. Taking action. Are we stuck? Or do we have a clear vision right behind us? Is our heart in the same? Is our heart in the right place? So that way we have a clearer vision. Awesome. And slowly come out of that pose. Woo! Last but not least, we have a forward fold, seated, keeping the butt elevated. Just like the downwards facing dog, we want to make sure of a few things for our setup. One, we have that 2 fist distances away. 2, we are bending from the knees and we're actually pulling the toes backwards a little bit. And technically, your knees should fit in your armpits, but if not, scoot your butt back a little bit, bend your knees more, that's okay. It's totally fine. And really just create space in this movement here also with your torso. Using your breath. Notice if you can sink a little bit deeper with each breath, and if not, if you're feeling just more stuck, you just have a little bit of work to do in these areas. It's all about patience and, again, connection with yourself. Showing yourself love when you are not able to create that space right here and right now, but showing love in a consistent practice and prioritizing yourself so that way you can really carry this mentality out into the world with other people. Woo! We made it, y'all. All right. PM yoga session. Hopefully that was helpful, and hopefully this helps you fall asleep at night and start a new day tomorrow totally refreshed. And definitely subscribe and like this video if you would like to see more. And I hope to see you in the future practices here. So cheers, have a great night, and subscribe to my page if you haven't already.